Welcome everyone to RAFterdark. RAFterdark. Ooh, spooky. It's nighttime. I'm scared of the dark. That's right. Only the scary things happen on RAFterdark. Not any cool, fun, happy, jolly video game things. You're on Respawn Aim Fire's Patreon exclusive for a short time episode of our show where we talk about anything but video games. We just catch up, chat, talk about Costco a lot of times, talk about IKEA a lot of times, and hospitals. And today we might or might not talk about many of those things because we all bring random things to talk about. Hi, I'm one of your hosts, Chad, Michael. I think the last time I went to IKEA was maybe 3 months ago. Innes. We've got Adam. I don't even know if you've ever been to IKEA. Is that a thing? Or was it Costco? Gumbert?
I've been to IKEA 21 years ago.
Wow. 21 years. Nice, nice. We've got go back. Joel from the Hotel Campus. How are you?
I'm good. Let's talk about Sam's Club for a brief second. They're doing a Pokemon drop on the 21st of July, and you better believe I'm camping out for these Pokemon.
Man, it's a giant exclusive?
Yeah, so it's a big box for like one of the most popular sets right now called Ascended Heroes. And it features my boy Hawlucha, and it comes with a giant Hawlucha card. And so you better fucking believe I'm camping out overnight for this fucking box.
Is there a Sam's Club even in the Chicago city limits?
No, I'm going to the suburbs, baby.
Oh yeah,
going to the suburbs. Yeah, nice. I'm super excited. I got a whole Sam's Club membership just for this.
And returning from his trip to space, back after several months of being gone and entrepreneurial adventures, etc., we have Cozy. When's the last time you went to Costco and or IKEA, Cozy?
Oh, man, it is good to be back. I don't know. I was at IKEA actually just like 6 days ago. I went in to go and check out some stuff. I'm going to be at Costco in a couple of days because I need to pick out some pizza ingredients. Fun fact, Costco has a like 3.6 liter like giant tub of whole tomatoes that makes for some very good pizza sauce when you really boil them down after a couple of hours. I want to just say right up front, I want to get this out of the way. Not only am I back on the show, not only am I back on Respawn Aim Fire, but I am here with a very special guest on this particular episode of RAFterdark.
Oh!
It is Cannoli the Beagle.
Oh, look at that puppy.
I wanted to get her out of the way at the beginning of the show because no joke, for the past 5 minutes, I had her set up on my armchair right to the right of me, and I was like rubbing her the entire time so she wouldn't just get up and leave. She's a pretty chill dog, but she doesn't want to get stuck in one place forever, especially when I'm talking loudly on a podcast in that particular spot. So everyone say hi to you, Cannoli the Wiener Dog. Cannoli the Wiener Dog is going to say hi to you as well.
Wait, is that a wiener dog?
Or a beagle dog? Or a mix?
Cannoli's a beagle. She looks a lot like a wiener dog. And so I myself, being so exposed to so many years to the wiener dogs of one Greg Miller have often made that, jump of confusion in my mind. But she is a beagle. She's a miniature beagle, though. She's a small beagle, for those of you who are audio only and can't see her on camera right now.
She's so cute.
Yeah, she's very cute. All right, I'm going to put her down now.
What's the story behind the name Cannoli? Did you all find that out, or did you give her a new name?
We really debated long and hard exactly what we wanted to call her. I'm just going to do a tell-all.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't have any preconceived notions about how this would go. I just assumed, Cozy, tell us about your life and what you've been doing.
Yeah, so I'll just, it's neither, it doesn't matter when I tell this particular part of the Cannoli story because it doesn't matter for the timeline, but her being called Cannoli was us trying to give her a name that we thought was more, I would say, kind of like appropriate, more in line with our particular family. She came from a litter of beagles that were all named after the French names of flowers because ici au Québec on parle le français. And so her original birth name is Capucine, which I actually don't even know what the English equivalent of that is, but it's a French name.
Sounds like it's probably like the origin of cappuccino.
So, in fact, when we were debating what we wanted to call her, we did think about calling her Cappuccino. And I think that we ultimately moved away from cappuccino just because we felt it was a few too many syllables. Cannoli, also a lot of syllables, but we're like, that's just short enough and just sweet enough of a name, literally and figuratively, that we decided, you know what, it's going to work. Our family is also half Italian, so it brings her into the Italian fold, as it were, in calling her cannoli. So yeah, cannoli. So long and short of it is basically about a year ago, my sister reached out and was like, hey, I might possibly have the opportunity to adopt a dog. My sister right now is currently at veterinary school. She goes and she studies at this place called Saint Hyacinthe, which is like about an hour drive northeast from Montreal. I have a veterinary school up there, and as part of her studies, she was given charge of walking and taking care of this one beagle, who at the time we knew as Capucine. Capucine, aka Cannoli, originally was born inside of a lab where they were conducting experiments of some sort on her. We don't know.
Oh, you got a test
kind of
tube
lab
puppy.
testing. We don't know what kind of tests they were conducting on her. We unfortunately are not privy to that particular information. But
So you're
after
saying when she
living
hits
in that-
puberty, she might get her like X-mutant powers and start doing laser
Maybe.
through the walls.
Maybe. She is 3 years old, though. So if she does have latent dog mutant superpowers, they're a little slow to develop at this point. She was in that environment for about a year, we think. And then after that, she was basically donated to the veterinary school that my sister was going to, and was, put within the curriculum over there and made a training dog for the students there. School's like, hey, if you really love this dog, you can adopt her at the end of your current semester. For a long period of time, it was really up in the air in terms of exactly when we were going to be able to adopt her. For a period of time, it seemed like we were only going to get her in August of this year, so a month from even when we're recording right now. And then unexpectedly, out of the blue, they were like, hey, actually, Cannoli is ready to go, and she will be in your household at the end of April, 3 days before the rest of my family was set to leave for a trip to Italy. You might remember late last year, I went on a trip to Slovenia with my father. The kind of politics, yes, the politics of that particular trip is that was very much, it was for both myself and my father, but it was kind of quote unquote my trip. And so the idea was, well, to counterbalance things, now we have to give Amelia, my younger sister, her own trip. And so she and my mother and father went off to Italy, and I basically had a good almost an entire month, because my family was delayed getting back home, of getting to care for and getting to know Cannoli alone at the home for that entire duration of time. She's a very sweet dog. Unlike most beagles, she's not a particularly barky dog. She's very quiet. Tends to be very shy, very timid when around other dogs and many other people. But, we're working via exposure therapy to try to make that kind of less of an issue as time has gone on. I've taken her to the dog park a few times to let her run around and get her exposed and used to the idea of being around other dogs and their scents and whatnot. Can be a little bit stubborn when we're taking her for a walk. She loves to go in a particular direction and really follow her nose. And when you say, oh, what if we went this way? She will sit, she will just lie down on the ground and allow herself to be dragged by her harness. She is very stubborn, but with a little bit of finagling, with a little bit of TLC, some scratches, some words of affirmation, she can be moderately bribed sometimes to go in the direction that you want. And yeah, it's been a fun time so far.
I want to talk about beagles. So my dog Gwen is also a beagle. She's half beagle.
She's a giant beagle.
Well, she's half beagle, half Greek hairhound. So that's like her mix. And yeah, she's very similar in the stubborn front. My dog is such a bitch sometimes. It's crazy. like insane. Like you said, the describing thing of dragging her. She knows the morning route we take every morning, right? We take like a quick 15-minute walk in the morning before we start work. And then, we go on the longer walk during lunch. And she knows, okay, we usually take a left here. She like will get up ahead of me and start trying to tug me straight to not go left. And then like if I start going left, I'm like, no, we're going this way. She like anchors into the earth to like not go that way because she knows like, okay, if we go that way, my walk's only 5 more minutes, whatever it is. Yeah, she's super stubborn, but she's not quiet like yours. Gwen definitely likes to bark. She doesn't howl. I know some beagles howl. I've only heard my dog howl twice, and both times were because an ambulance was driving by us with the siren on. It was the most adorable thing ever. I got it on camera one time. It was amazing. So yeah, if you had told me I was a beagle guy, I wouldn't believe you. Like I always wanted like a bigger dog. Like don't get me wrong, Gwen's like a good medium-sized dog, I'd say. But yeah, I always wanted like a boxer or something like that, or like a pit bull mix of some sort. But I don't know. I think I love beagles now, just having Gwen, just because she's the coolest dog ever. And to a point to where they rescued a bunch of beagles in Wisconsin from a testing facility because they're the most tested on dog breed out there. And so like I just looked it up, and like they brought a bunch of them down to Chicago, and me and Elise were like stalking the pages, like, oh, like look at how cute these ones are, because there was like all puppies essentially. Ooh, what did I do? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Oh,
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, sorry. I clicked the wrong thing. So yeah, over 1,600 beagles were rescued. This was June of 2026, June of this year, from a breeding facility up in Blue Mounds, Wisconsin. So they were just like,
We can't hear you anymore.
Ooh, can't hear you.
okay, all right.
There you go. Now
So
you're back.
yeah, sorry, I just got to stop clicking on links to get info. I'll just do it on my phone if I do it again. But yeah, so like they rescued 1,600 dogs up in Wisconsin, and they were just bringing them to all like the shelters and stuff in the Chicago area. So like it was just on our feeds for like a solid 3 months of just like, hey, these dogs are all coming to Chicago. They're all coming to these, adoption centers. These are the ones we're gonna have. And like we were so tempted to adopt another dog, it was crazy. But I just think
love
the
that they
timing
have this
just was
like
not right.
this online story, like the monks that were traveling, like walking up the countryside, like these beagles, they're coming to Chicago. They're almost here. You got to go see the beagles walk on their way to Chicago.
But like 1,600 dogs all being rescued from one place is such a scary thing, because it's like, those living conditions were terrible for those dogs. And I'm sure that's not even the biggest testing facility for dogs in the States. There's probably even bigger ones.
Now I'm wondering if beagles are like the most tested upon dog. Chad, you were earlier alluding to the idea that maybe they're giving these dogs superpowers. Maybe it's that the dogs already have superpowers and we don't know about them. And these facilities are trying to, they're trying to remove them or test them or figure out how they work.
Joel, while I say this next thing, whatever you did to fix your voice visual sync last time, do it again, because it's a few seconds off again. This next thing, I'm wondering.
I did nothing.
Okay. Hopefully it'll fix itself. What I think is happening is that maybe you are the test subject. And they've done something to the beagles, and they're looking to see, like, maybe they're irradiated, and does that actually turn Cozy's family into the Fallout ghouls? Or maybe they have some kind of special hormone that makes you all also turn into dogs? Like, maybe. I don't know how the things work up in Canada, but here in California, we have like informed consent forms where if you're part of a study, you legally have to get a document that says, this is the study you're doing, this is why you're doing it, this is the data we're collecting. You can opt out at any time. Did they give you one of those?
I don't know. Here's what I'll say. When I went to go and get my dog registered with the city of Montreal, they said, hey, we can't call this dog Cannoli in our database because the adoption form specifically said Capucine, which was her old name. And then the person who was filling out my form, she's a very, very sweet lady, but a little hard of hearing, because instead of putting down Capucine, she put down Papucine, which isn't even a word in French. It's just nonsense. And so I think that by having your name wrong twice over, I think that we're immune from any surveillance because they can't find us in the system.
Makes sense. So, Cozy, you got a dog.
Yes.
What else have you been up to?
Oh, man. Of course, people that have been watching a little YouTube/entertainment channel called Kind of Funny. Now that I've appeared on multiple episodes of Kind of Funny's main feed now, I had previously taken part in many of episodes of the Kind of Funny Happy Hour podcast, which is an episode that any like patron of a certain tier can participate in. I played many video games with the show, but after much finagling, I finally managed to work up to having them have me on to actually do a couple of my game shows with them live in person. I say live in person, even though they were neither live nor in-person episodes. What I mean by that is I actually appeared on like proper episodes on their main feed. And that was suffice to say, pretty surreal experience. I'd been a fan of, Greg Miller and Colin from way back in the Podcast Beyond days in like the early 2010s, and getting to actually like appear on their shows and do content alongside them was pretty damn awesome. I will say, outside of that, things have been okay, to be totally honest with y'all. As you know, back last year, I quit my previous job at a quality assurance company so that I could get into game development and teach myself these skills that I had gradually lost over the years. That has worked out fine for me, and it's because of me taking an initiative on that I was able to eventually work up to being able to participate in a lot of these Kind of Funny episodes, and that's been great. But it has reached the point recently where I'm like, okay, I've had my fun, and I think it's time to start looking for a job. And I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the news recently, but it's a little hard to find a job right now.
Yeah, not a lot of jobbies growing on jobby trees right now.
Yeah, and so I've still been getting by. I've still been finding odd bits of work here and there, short-term contracty stuff, the Kind of Funny stuff paid as well, and so that's helped. So certainly not going all that poorly, but it could be better as well. And so that's kind of where I'm at.
Talk to me a little bit about the difference in this, like being on not Kind of Feudy, the Kind of Funny Game Showdown, like those versus your normal Patreon like happy hour things. Like, how is that process different? How did that go? How do they integrate you into the show itself? Like,
what software did they use?
Yeah,
I'm curious. What software do they use?
I mean, so like talking a little bit about the happy hour stuff. So the happy hour podcasts are all done over Discord. They have like a designated Discord channel that you get invited to when you subscribe to them at a certain tier. And then once a month, they'll hold these calls where they, let people in one by one and they come up and chat with the crew. Typically in those calls, nobody except for the Kind of Funny hosts themselves has access to a video cam feed. You can't have your camera on because they don't want just, random wangs appearing in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so in the past, the thing is they will still provided that they've determined that they're safe, they will still allow images and videos and games that the community has shared to be shown on screen, which is how I played a lot of the prior video games I had created for the hosts. I'd be like, hey, I just made a video game and I'm hosting it over here on itch.io, meaning you can play it in your web browser. If you go to this link right here and right now, you can play the game in the browser and you can also show it on screen. I won't appear on camera because you're not showing your cameras, but I can still talk you through the game as you play it. And so those games were typically played in like 5 to 7 minute intervals. I try to be very mindful of the, time allotted to myself and to the other people on the call. I don't want to hog up too much time. And basically, long story short, I did enough of those games that I gained a little bit of notoriety. People would see my name in the call and go, ooh, Cozy's coming up. Maybe we'll get a fun Cozy segment. And I forget the exact interaction, but eventually I was like, hey, I love doing these games with you guys. It'd be fun to actually do a proper full version of this on, you know what it was? I'd done one of my games on a happy hour show. It was one of my proper games that I had created in Unity that they had played and they'd had a great time with it. And then the following day, Greg Miller was on Kind of Funny Games Daily and he called me out and he explicitly said, we should have Cozy on a proper episode of Game Showdown at some point in the future. And so that gave me the confidence to be like, it'd be one thing if I requested to be on Game Showdown without that previously being raised by the host. But the fact that Greg Miller said it, I was like, hey, on this episode, Greg Miller said he'd like to have me on Game Showdown. So now I'm calling your bluff. And they weren't bluffing.
Beer. Let's go.
Yeah. Blessing was actually the person that I mostly liaisoned with that stuff. Blessing is kind of the guy running the show when it comes to kind of Game Showdown. And obviously there are like certain details that I'll, remain a little confidential about because, they probably don't want me going into explicit detail about every step of the process. Not that there's like anything crazy or shocking that would blow the world away if I were to reveal it. But yeah, eventually we got talking about what we would like to see on one of their Game Showdown streams. I mentioned, I really love doing Cozy Pretty, which is like a riff on Jeopardy that I created that has a prize wheel that will basically restrict where it is on the Jeopardy board you can choose clues from. And we decided, let's do an entirely PlayStation themed version of Cozy Pretty. And one thing led to another. It was initially going to be that I was only going to appear as like the voice of God on the podcast. I wasn't going to be on camera. But we actually did a rehearsal ahead of the like proper recording of the episode in which I appeared on camera with my suit and tie and everything that I have on that particular episode. And that made that made Barrett and Blessing go, hey, if you want to appear on camera, I think you got the stuff to do so. And I'm like, sure, I'll gladly appear on camera. So we did that.
I'll gladly appear on camera as I'm in a full suit with a green screen desk in front of me.
It's one of those things where you got to show like, hey, I'm really committed to the bit if I'm going to be on camera. I'm not just going to show up in some stupid graphic tee. And that episode went great.
Shade to graphic tees.
Yeah. Stupid graphic tees. I own like 20 of them in my closet, but
aren't you wearing one right now?
I was going to say this one's it's an image of ramen, actually. So yeah, that episode went great, and we talked about what we would want to see next time. And I was like, yo, what if we did the PlayStation episode was just a single board. What if we did a double episode where we talked about, did trivia for both Nintendo and Xbox consoles? And very, very interesting timing on that particular episode, because that episode debuted like literally a week before Microsoft announced their like insane layoffs. But amazingly, I don't think there was a single studio on that particular episode, referenced on that particular episode, that is currently closed down or is about to close down. But maybe I'm mistaken about that. There's been a lot of turmoil as of recent. But yeah, that's kind of how it went.
That's pretty cool. I watched both episodes that you did. Always fantastic, and your production value of that game just gets higher and higher. You're building all of that in Unity?
Yeah, it's all built in Unity. I didn't specify it in the episodes, but no AI tools or like AI whatchamacallits used in the creation of either the assets in Unity, the code, or the clues. All made by myself from my cold bare hands from scratch. It's been a challenging process in some ways, a lot of trial and error during the early days, but it's been a lot of fun.
Dope. Adam, you have any questions for our long lost friend who's back from the dead?
Questions? No. It's just interesting hearing about what happened in the whole process of that.
By the way, right now, just so you know, I put Cannoli down from the chair thinking that she would go and rest on the couch that's in back of me. Instead, she literally just plopped down on the floor right next to my foot. And so I need to be careful I don't step on her. Yeah.
What a good puppy.
Oh, she's so cute.
All right, we've caught up with Cozy's life. Friends, Joel, Adam, do you all have anything else you'd like to bring to the table? I've got a very tiny little story that Joel already knows about I could go into, but...
No, Chad's coming to Chicago on a whim.
I am.
For a day.
A day and 1 minute.
A day and 1 minute. 24 hours and 1 minute. He will be in my presence.
Which minute in the day will it be?
From 8:59 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Thursday, July 23rd.
That's I don't know how I feel about that particular minute. That's like a 6 out of 10 minute, because you're
well, hold on. You haven't heard the
tired.
Context. It's central.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Still, that's like a 6.5. It's marginally better.
Yeah.
Does
I'm coming to Chicago.
You think it would help if we told you what he was doing here? You think that might
Maybe.
help that minute?
Maybe. Tell me what you're doing there.
What are you doing, Chad?
On a trip in 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks now. I forgot how soon it was. Going on a trip in less than 2 weeks, and I'd taken off a whole week, and then I took off a whole week plus the Monday after, and I was going to try to fit in 3 trips in one, which would have been way too much, to be honest. And then I ended up doing 3 trips in one. But I was starting in Rhode Island, and I knew I was going to be there a few days, and I want to do this like field day thing. I've been really inspired by watching a lot of Taskmaster, this British like games show that's like a bunch of stupid, fun, dumb tasks that you watch celebrities and comedians do. So I've been inspired by that, and I've been inspired by whatever the other fucking thing is. My mind just blanked. Anyway, I've been inspired. I want to do this field day. Oh, I was inspired by the kind of funny somebody's birthday.
Yusuf Magid's birthday.
Yeah, Yusuf Magid's birthday.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was like, I want to do something like this. I'm going to Rhode Island. Between Matt and Dallas, they have 6 kids. It would be cool for us to like involve them in some way. Yeah, Adam, 6 kids.
Wait a minute. I did not know that they had that many goddamn kids between those two dudes.
Matt just had his second kid in May. Crunchwrap 2.
So it basically doesn't count. That kid's not doing shit for a field day.
Well, we don't know yet. It's got 2
Hold on a
kids.
second.
Number of kids. I don't care about
Hold
the
on a
field
second.
day. I'm talking about 6 kids between those 2 men. I had no idea.
Yeah.
He had a second kid.
Dallas is a machine.
Pump it out.
Yep.
Dallas is a machine.
Pumping them out.
You're telling him that he had a second kid and he called him Crunchwrap 2 and not Crunchwrap Supreme.
Well, the first baby was named Crunchwrap. There's, to be honest, Crunchwraps don't exist as non-Supreme variants. There's Crunchwrap Supreme, and that's it. And
Okay.
so yeah, he had.
It's still disappointing. I'm gonna start a
I
GoFundMe
can't remember.
to change Crunchwrap 2's name to Crunchwrap Supreme.
What is his second kid's name? I can't remember right now.
It's Crunchwrap 2. We established this. It's a tragedy.
Quinn. It's Quinn.
Quinn. Okay.
Yeah. And anyway, so we're going there. 6 kids, bunch of adults, wives and things like that are invited to, and we're gonna just have a fun old time doing a bunch of stupid, fun things. We're gonna have like awards and all sorts of fun things, doing stuff that can be scaled and handicapped for the kids. Like one of them is a Taskmaster task that I saw where you have to sit in a rolly chair, and you have to throw forks into a bucket. And every time you throw a fork, you have to do a spin in the chair, and then you throw another fork, and then you spin in the chair. So progressively, you get more and more like you're going to throw up. Kids, famously, can't throw up from spinning around. It's impossible. Doesn't happen. They don't have the throw up gene in them to throw up at that age. From spinning, they can throw up from anything else. From like, I saw a cat, I'm going to throw up, or I stubbed my tongue, I'm going to throw up. But so we're going to go to this.
Crunchwrap 2 throws up, does he throw up nacho cheese or salsa?
It is just sour cream.
It's actually breast milk.
Really?
The craziest part.
That's actually, little known fact, that's how they make sour cream. They feed breast milk to infants, and then they throw it up, and then that's sour cream.
Wow. That's terrible.
Yeah.
It comes out curdled. It's pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, they also do it with they also do it with beagles, which is crazy.
That's why they have all those testing facilities. They can harvest the sour cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew I was going there for that. We're going to have a fun time. We're also going to go see The Odyssey. I'll see it for my second time in giant IMAX over at the Providence Place IMAX Theater, which is now Apple Cinemas, not the Providence Place IMAX anymore. So I knew that was going to be there. And then I was trying to fit in a trip to go see my best friend in Nashville and his 2 kids for a couple of days, and go to North Carolina and see my 6 nieces and nephews for a few days before I eventually came back here and went back to work. And not too long ago, best friend is like, oh, I'm super excited. My dad just called and he's coming up to visit. And he just took a bunch of time off of work, and it turns out he's coming the exact same time that you were going to come. And I was like, you know what? That actually clears things up. That lets me go and have like a nice relaxing time in North Carolina, not have to worry about too much travel. And then
I'm Chad's D plan, is what he's saying. He had 3 other trips planned before he was like, you know what? I'll go see Joel for 24 hours in one.
Not only is Joel my D plane, Joel's not even in the plan at all. Joel is my vehicle to get to Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally in this musical because he just happens to be there and is a great guy. So I got an Instagram post sent to me from somebody, I don't know, Randy, somebody who knows I like musicals and enjoy Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally, and there is a musical playing in Chicago right now called Ice Boy the Musical. I have no idea what the fuck it's about. I think it's an original musical. It stars
X-Men prequel series.
That's exactly what it is. Yes, it stars Nick Offerman, who is Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec, and Megan Mullally, his wife, who is I guess her most famous thing is she's Tammy 2 from Parks and Rec, but also the Karen girl from what's the gay show? This gay sitcom that everybody
Will and Grace.
Will and Grace, thank you.
But she's also Gail, Linda's sister from Bob's Burgers. That's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. And so they are starring side by side in this Ice Boy the Musical, and it's closing in August. And I was like, I have to go to Chicago and see this. I have to make it work. So I texted Joel. I was like, hey, what if I came and saw this musical and I was there for a very short time? Would you go and see this with me? Would you and Elise go and see it? And Elise said, fuck that. I fucking hate musicals. I hate that fucking dirty guy Chad.
She didn't say she hates musicals. She just said, I feel like it would be a waste of a ticket.
I feel like I would see that musical and I'd say I wasted all of my time and I should have been at home doing better things. That's what she said with her eyes. And so Elise is like, no, fuck that. I'm out. And I was like, Joel.
And then you know what her follow-up question was before I told you? She
What?
said, do I have to go to the musical to get dinner with you guys?
No, Elise, you can have dinner waiting for us when we get home because now the musical, we're going in the afternoon because that musical was sold out in the evening show at 7 p.m. and now we're at 2 p.m. for that show. So I was working all of this out, also trying to figure out like looking at flights. Flights are all fucky and it's hard to like find the right thing at the right time to get you in. Blah, blah. I had changed my Rhode Island flight. I was flying into Boston, but I was like, now I'm flying from Rhode Island, Providence Airport. And so I made a bunch of fucking changes. It was all going to be worth it though, because I'm going to Chicago. I'm going to be there for 24 hours and 1 minute. And I'm going to hang out with Joel. We're going to go to the Pokemon Museum at the Field Museum and see all the skellies of the Pokemon, all those little bones, Pokebones. We're going to get some non-fucked up little Pokemon cards that are exclusive.
Yeah, let's hope.
That don't have little nicks in the corner. And then we're going to resell those for $400,000 on the black market.
Nope.
Well, Joel can do whatever he wants with his card. I'm going to resell mine on the black market for $400,000.
Hopefully when we go, they have more stuff in the merch store because I was very let down.
Yeah.
They were sold out of like everything last time I went.
0 out of 10. So yeah, we're going to that at 11 a.m. That's going to be cutting it tight because I'm getting it, as we've already discussed, 8:59 a.m. at O'Hare International Airport.
So Chad, pro tip,
Yeah.
they let you into the museum, I think 15 minutes before. 10 or 15 minutes before our time, which was 11 a.m.
Okay.
So we just got to be there and just get in. You can get through the whole exhibit in like 30 to 45 minutes, so we should be good.
Okay. I think we'll be pretty good because landing, you always land a couple of minutes early. I do have some checked bags because I'm going to be gone a little over a week. And then I looked up it's going to be past rush hour, so traffic shouldn't be too bad. We got like a half-hour drive down to Field Museum. 11 a.m., hit that up. Go get some food, maybe some Portillo's afterwards, maybe some, I don't know. I feel like I get Portillo's every time.
The chocolate cake shake.
I feel like I got to get something else that I don't normally get.
Wendy's.
We'll figure it out.
Arby's. Arby's.
I think the last time I went to Wendy's, it was in Chicago. So maybe I'll get some Chicago Wendy's again. I went to Arby's recently with this invisible made-up person apparently named Randy. We went to Arby's and built Gundam models not too long ago.
At Arby's? You did that at Arby's?
Yeah. We actually brought our own Arby's and they sold us the Gundam models and we built them there.
There's a new trend on TikTok where people like walk around the office like, hey, yo, a rep is coming in. They said they're picking up Arby's. Do you want anything? And they do it just to get people's reactions. And everybody's always so disgusted. They're like, no, I don't want Arby's.
Do they have a Golden Corral in Chicago?
They got
I don't-
golden,
I don't-
maybe that's what we'll go. Golden Nugget.
You want Golden Nugget?
Dude, I fucking love
I don't think they have Golden Corral in Chicago proper, but there's definitely some in the suburbs. Same with like Golden Nugget. I don't think there's any in the Loop area where we're going to beach yet. I could be wrong.
So
We can go to Manny's Deli. I don't know if you've ever been there.
There's one up on, there's a Golden Nugget up on Diversey. It's not too far away.
Thing about me is, if you were to make an action figure of me and it were to come equipped with like 3 little accessories, the 3 accessories would be, one would be like a Bionicle. The second one would probably be Cannoli because she's a big part of my life right now. The third thing, as we all know, would be a speech bubble that says, I really want to visit Buca de Beppo before it goes bankrupt. That is still at the top of the list of American casual dining chains that I really want to visit. However, ever since someone introduced me to Golden Corral, I really want to visit Golden Corral as well.
Have you never been to Golden Corral?
I don't know.
I've never been there. They don't have any of these places, any of these terrible dog shit places in Canada. But I will say, even though they don't seemingly have Golden Corral in Chicago, I do give you permission to go to the Golden Nugget because that sounds just as good / bad.
When you go to get your first colonic in, we'll say, colonoscopy in like 15 years, I think is about the time that you would be getting one. I want you, when they're like, you have to drink this drink to completely evacuate your bowels and make sure that you have nothing in your asshole when we go in there. You say, hold my beer. I don't need your drink. I'm going to go to Golden Corral and accomplish the same thing. Because Golden Corral is instant. We have a rule in the Innes family that if we ever go to Golden Corral, we don't leave until everyone has shit. Like, otherwise somebody's going to shit their pants on the way home. And we don't want that.
How are the bathrooms? How are the bathrooms at the Golden Corral?
They're public buffet bathrooms. They're exactly what you'd expect. And they're full of Innes shit. So yeah.
See, that's something I feel like if you're a restaurant like Golden Corral, you just gotta you have to invest in like a really nice premium luxury bathroom to really.
Have you seen the people go to Golden Corral? They don't give a fuck about their luxury. You're eating a fucking buffet at Golden Corral. They don't give a shit.
The problem is that
no,
you can't.
Incorrect. They do give a shit.
That's true. They do. There's lots of shit given.
They don't care where you do it. You could do it in the fucking chocolate fountain. They don't give a shit. They don't fucking care. They don't.
The problem with the Golden Corral is that they have like everything, and you, as a tiny fat child that I was, you don't have self-control. So I'm going to eat pizza and also prime rib and also
And mashed potatoes.
and macaroni
And mac and
cheese and gummy bears, and I'm going to get soft serve ice cream with gummy bears, and I'm going to have like 12 brownies, and you just have so much shit, and then you just die inside, and that rot escapes your asshole, and you pass out. And that's how it works.
Man, there's a famous buffet in Montreal's Chinatown that I've been to quite a few times. And every single time I think about that buffet, I always cringe at the fact that I would get like the giant like Jell-O cubes from like the dessert section of the buffet. Because like that's like far and away the cheapest thing for them to make. And I probably got needlessly loaded up on those things as a very stupid kid.
In elementary school, we had, that was like in our cafeteria. And I was always terrified of it because I was like, oh, that looks like Jell-O, but it's not Jell-O because they always called it, because obviously they didn't have brand name. They always called it congealed fruit. And I didn't know what that meant, but I knew that sounded gross and it wasn't what I wanted it to be. And so I was terrified of that shit. Never ate it.
Shocked they didn't call it gelatin. Why is it congealed fruit? That's a new one for me.
I don't know.
That's gross. I wouldn't eat that.
I've also never been to Buca de Beppo.
I haven't either. I didn't even know it was real. I thought it was just a South Park thing, but then it turns out it is real.
No, yeah. I know there's some in the suburbs here. Have you ever been to what's the place with the meats?
Arby's?
No, like the all you can eat Brazilian steakhouse kind of place. What's that called?
Fogo de Chao?
Fogo de Chao.
Fogo de Chao. Yeah.
One right across the street from my neighborhood, and every time
That's
I pass
funny.
by it, I can't see the name of that restaurant and not say it like an Arrested Development chicken sound. I have to go Fogo de Chao every single time that I see it.
So
Go ahead.
I was gonna say over the weekend, I was in Vegas, and like my whole family was there, like my siblings, all my nieces and nephews. We were all there visiting my parents, and we went to the Hoover Dam on Sunday and like did a tour. And we got out of the car, walked down the parking garage, and Elise was like switching from her glasses to her sunglasses or something. And like she thought there was a fucking Fogo de Chao like in the parking garage of the Hoover Dam. And she's like, is that a fucking Fogo de Chao? And then like we turned the corner, I was like, no, it just says food and ice cream or something.
I don't I don't have anything against Fogo de Chao. It's not very high on my list of places to eat at. I actually had a really bad experience years ago at a like Brazilian style place like in the Montreal area where they would occasionally have, this is like a kind of like more of a swanky place where they would occasionally have dancers come in and like do like little dance numbers at like random intervals. And I remember at one of those intervals, they came over to our table and they forced everyone to like get up and dance. And it's like, I really just want to play Pokemon Platinum on my Nintendo DS. I really don't want to dance right now. And so that kind of burned me on that.
I mean, there's nothing more American than sitting at a table and having a little puck that sits in front of you that is green on one side and red on the other. And it just means give me more meat or give me no meat. It's like the most American thing ever. And it's delicious.
They should come up with a chain in the United States and Canada so we can get in on it too. That's like Argentinian style barbecue. When I visited Argentina back in like 2010, they were like, let me tell you, talk about a country that is just as much, if not possibly even more into barbecuing them meats than Brazil. Argentina, they love their barbecues. They love their asados. And I would kill for an experience like that again.
I don't think I've ever had it.
It's good.
But I mean,
lots of meat.
Sounds good.
That's what I'm getting tonight, barbecue. Oh, got to find a place that's going to be open.
Where are you at again? You're in Texas?
Yeah.
San Antonio, that's right. Six Flags. My best friend used to be a musician performer there for about probably like 6 months between cruise ships. I have another thing that is rapidly developing. And by rapidly developing, I mean I'm watching my phone about every 10 minutes for the last 24 hours.
This is the World Cup.
It is not the World Cup. I could not give fewer fucks about the World Cup if you held a gun to me.
Okay. Here's what I'll say. I don't mind the World Cup at all. Don't mind football or soccer or whatever the hell you want to call it. I hate that I'll just, be getting in the car with Dad. And you'll be like, so what did you think about the game last night? I'm like, Dad, I'm not actively paying attention to these things. Why are you assuming that I'm actively paying attention to these things? Everybody assumes, well, the World Cup's going on. If you ask any random Joe on the street, they'll immediately know the exact standings, all the teams. And it's like, I respect your love of the game, respect the sport, but I'm not actively paying attention to this stuff. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Did you snap at your father for trying to connect with you?
No. No. This is all internal.
God damn it, Dad! I don't give a fuck.
This is all internal. I was very cordial in real life.
All I know is that the World Cup, it caused me. I made the mistake of going to see a movie that happened at the same time as the World Cup, and a lot of it is happening in San Jose, Santa Clara technically, right where I go see the movies, and it meant that it took us a half an hour to get out of the movie theater parking lot. And it was miserable, and I just cursed the name of the World Cup the entire time. I don't know who was playing, but I fucking hate them. But no, this is not the World Cup. I have, on the back wall of my primary bedroom, there's a patio. There's a little deck out there. And on this little deck, I have a little patch of grass. It is 18 inches by 25 inches. It's a little astroturf, little artificial grass that Atreus has when he needs to. He goes pee on. Very rarely, when he can't hold his poo-poo, he'll go poo-poo on it. Under this astroturf, I have puppy pee pads, and we've been using them for years and years and years. It's a great way to contain the pee, but also make it in a way where I can dispose of it very frequently, every couple of days, and replace it with a fresh one. A few days ago, I walked outside, and Trace goes out there. We've got a doggy door on there. And Trace goes out there whenever he needs to. Occasionally, when he goes out there, he hears another like in the alleyway behind my place, he hears another dog out there, or a car, or a garbage truck that's coming to collect the garbage. And he goes out there and he'll growl at them, or sometimes even bark at them. And sometimes when he gets real aggressive, we're by the way, we're up a floor, so it's about 10 feet off the ground. He's looking down at these. And sometimes when he gets real aggressive, he does this thing, like a bull does before it charges, and it like kind of scrapes its feet on the ground, and he does that kind of thing, right? And occasionally I'll find like the rug on the back patio is like kind of flipped up a little bit, where he's done that and the corner of the rug flips up. And the other day I walk out there every morning after I take my shower, before we actually like go on our first potty walk. I say, hey, you want to go check and see if you went pee-pee out there? Because to get him trained and used to using it and comfortable with that, I reward him. If we go out there, I lift it up and there's pee on the pee pad, then he gets a treat. So you go out and go see if you went pee-pee out there. He gets excited. We go out there, and I go out there, and there are little tufts of grass all over the patio. I'm like, this is weird. And I look, there's like a pillow that I have out there for him to lay on, because he likes to lay out in the sun whenever the sun hits the back porch. And there are like little spots all over the pillow that are kind of like chewed up a little bit. And I was like, wow, you got really aggressive with whatever dog was down there, and you just, scraped your feet on the ground so hard on the pee pad that you're just like throwing AstroTurf, and you're ripping up this thing. Why? I was like, holy crap, I want to see what's getting you so riled up. And so I put a camera out there. I have a little HomeKit camera, hooked it up out there, and I'm watching it. And I have the camera set to automatically record anytime it notices specific motion. So if it recognizes a pet or a vehicle or like a package being delivered or something like that, it will record a clip. I set it up. About 2 hours later, I check it. Everything fine. There was like a little notification. Atreus had gone out there. I was like, okay, I saw the clip. And I see the pee pad is where it is. The AstroTurf is where it is. 2 hours later, this was like 5:20, I believe, is when this happened. I got the notification, everything was good. 2 hours later, about 7:15, I get another notification, and I look at it. It's just Atreus out there again. But I notice the pee pad is about 3 feet away from where it normally is. I was like, huh, that's interesting. So I go out to the back patio. The AstroTurf is about 3 feet away. I go out to the back porch, and the AstroTurf is 3 feet away. There's little grass shavings everywhere, and the pee pad is completely gone. Like, it is missing.
Ooh. It's a pee burglar.
What the fuck is going on? What? And I, looking over the railing, looking for, like, did the wind just somehow like blow the AstroTurf and then take I'm not seeing anything out there.
Yeah, pee burglar needs it. He needs the ammonia so he can properly tan those hides he has in his back porch.
That's probably what it is. And I have this 2-hour gap in this camera footage where I can't see what the fuck happened. So we've narrowed it down to a couple of possibilities. I've now switched the camera over to any fucking sign of motion, you record something. So if every 10 minutes when a car drives by, or like the wind blows and a little bit of the AstroTurf just wiggles, I'm getting a notification. There's been activity on your back porch, and I'm looking at it and it's nothing. But it's been about 36 hours now. Well, no, actually about 48 hours now. I haven't gotten anything yet, but it's got to be something. I've narrowed it down to like maybe a bird. I'm thinking a bird because like pecking and like chewing little bits on the pillow, and also thinking it's got to get that pee pad up over this railing. So I'm thinking it grabs it in his mouth and flies away. Jerica brought up the fact that it might be a raccoon, which honestly terrified me.
Raccoon was the first thing that came to my mind.
That terrified me.
Yeah, those guys love piss.
We have that doggy door that is right there where the Atreus goes in and out of. And occasionally, at like midnight, Atreus will like get up and run out that door, just like, and start growling at things. And I've been like assuming it was a dog that he was out there barking at. Turns out this whole time, it could have been a raccoon. Maybe he was scaring a raccoon off the porch, and I've been punishing him unnecessarily. So it could be a raccoon. If that's the case, I've got to figure out a completely different strategy for caring for my dog, because I'm not going to leave a 24/7 accessible doggy door there with a raccoon that is on the loose, that is pee-napping my dog's fucking sanitary wipes. But then my neighbor / coworker was telling me we have really aggressive squirrels in this neighborhood. I just was there about a year ago. And he tells me they had all sorts of plants on their patio, and the squirrels ate the entire plant, like all of their plants. And so they ended up just getting fake plants. And I did notice that, like, the other day I was walking the dog, I looked up at his balcony, and there's a squirrel on his balcony just fucking chewing on something on his railing, making a bunch of noise. I was like, okay, maybe it is a squirrel. I am hoping, I will, of course, as soon as we find out what it actually is and we get footage of it, I am hoping to God that I end up catching some magnificent footage of a squirrel dragging AstroTurf 3 feet away, getting an entire, like, 4 square foot pea-soaked piss pad, and finding a way with his little tiny squirrel mouth and little tiny squirrel arms to get that piss-soaked pad over a 4-foot railing and down a 10-foot drop to wherever the fuck that squirrel is going. I cannot wait to get some kind of recorded footage of this and submit it to, like, National Geographic or something.
This is an operation, by the way. This is not a single.
Yeah.
This is
I was gonna say
squirrels doing this to you.
I was gonna say you're looking at 4 to 26 squirrels doing this together.
Wait.
We gotta call this episode. You won't believe, all caps, how much these squirrels love piss.
So there's the tease. There's the tease for hopefully next Rafter Dark we have the review, whatever it was.
Now, let me put it out there. I feel like I need to address this possibility before we move on from this. Is it possible that this might also be viral marketing for an upcoming Paranormal Activity reboot?
I had not considered that. I do live right behind the Winchester Mystery House. So it's possible there's a partnership where they're just terrorizing the neighborhood to advertise their upcoming movie.
They're specifically terrorizing people that they know will have video cameras that they'll use to try and video camera, like, the goings-ons around their house, and use that to subtly seed supernatural occurrences into their lives to get them juiced to go and see the new reboot.
You know, Cozy, I had not considered this. I did notice that about 3 hours ago, my camera, it's an indoor camera that I just happened to, it's an old indoor camera that I just happened to have around, and I was just like, let me dig this out of a box and put this up on the back porch. I noticed about 3 hours ago, it no longer displays things in the correct color. Anything that used to be blue is now brown, and anything that used to be brown is now blue. So this is a blue dog.
I thought you were going to say it all just displays in piss yellow. Oh my God, the piss has gotten in the camera. The piss is coming inside the house.
The piss is coming from inside the house. I think what happened is just the direct sunlight, like, fried the fucking camera sensor, and so it fucked up all the colors. But what could be is that there are ghosts that are fucking with the camera, and I'm catching something.
Piss ghosts.
Piss ghosts.
If need be, you can try stabbing the camera. If it bursts into piss, you'll know that the piss is responsible.
So I can't wait. Hopefully I'll have an update for you all by the time we record our next Rafter Dark.
I hope that nobody is eating while listening to this episode. Actually, you know what? If you're at the Golden Corral, you should listen to this episode. This episode will probably help you with the final bathroom break you need to take.
Which brings us to our sponsor, Golden Corral.
Yeah.
All right, folks. We've been recording for 53 minutes. Is there anything else you would love to talk about before we sign off today?
I'm good. I have a lot of video gamey stuff that I do want to get into on, like, a proper video game episode of RAFterdark, not Rafter Dark, just like a regular RAF episode, but we'll get into it. We'll get into all that stuff over there.
Yeah, we'll have to have that happen real soon. Well, thank you, Cozy, for coming back and filling us in on what you've been doing. We can't wait to have you back on a regular episode. That's it. Thank you so much for listening to this. If you are a patron over on patreon.com/respawnandfire and you're listening to this before August 1st, 2026, you're a goat. You're the best. You're a real one. If you are listening to this any other time for free, you're the reason this podcast eventually died one day. Just remember that. When you no longer get any more episodes of this podcast, it's because you didn't watch us on Patreon. It's your fault. Just saying.
Yeah, fun fact. When this episode stops, you won't be able to pee anymore. You'll think that it's a blessing that you no longer have to relieve yourself at the bathroom, but you'll find in time that you miss the yellow stench of ammonia that would come out of the hole.
And that's how we'll end it. Thanks, folks. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.